Kareem.
A blessed, successful, progressive, enduring, revealing Ramadan. Allahu Akbar. This is a Ramadan Enlightenment session, and I came to this title because Ramadan is about being enlightened by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the Quran, by people that we have here this afternoon. And we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the guest speakers that we have here today. We have to have better representation in our community. We thank Allah for that. And we ask Allah to bless all the speakers that are here to give us something that will be mentally nutritional, something that will benefit our thinking, something that we can take back to our families and become very Quranically productive. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
So Ramadan session was started by our late great Imam W.D. Muhammad Rahimahullah. He came up with the concept of Ramadan sessions. And what a fitting subject title to represent. So we're going to keep on the work that our Imam put forth, all the work that he did. And we pray Allah that we give him, put him in the Jannah. In fact, put him in the company of Muhammad. Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Ameen. Ameen. That's my prayer. Allahu Akbar. So this is a special presentation by, we have Brother Wali Abdul Kareem. He's going to do a piece on Piece of the Dream. Yes, sir.
You can't hear me? Okay. All right. Speak up.
Can you hear me now? Okay, alhamdulillah. Allahu Akbar. What I was saying is that I just wanted to give a little brief background about Ramadan session. It was started by our late great Imam W.D. Muhammad Rahimahullah. And Ramadan is a time for enlightenment. So that's why I came up with this concept. Intelligence. Intelligent sisters, intelligent brothers. That's what Muslims represent. That's what Allah wants. And Prophet Muhammad had made it clear that 1 hour of reading the Quran is like all night in prayer. A lot of people don't get that. They think prayer is it. Prayer is it. But the intellect is more powerful than the prayer. And I used to wrestle with that. Well, wait a minute. I thought prayer was it. Prayer is important. But the Prophet said 1 hour of reading the Quran is worth all night in salat. Why would he say something like that? Because when you're making prayer, who's doing the talking? No. You are. Think about it a minute. Ya Allah, give me a job. Ya Allah, give me a wife. Ya Allah. You're petitioning Allah when you're praying. Allah's just listening to you. Think about it a minute. Oh Allah, give me this. Oh Allah, give me that. You are a petitioner when you're praying. Allahu Akbar. We don't think about that. But when you read the Quran, who's doing the talking? You just said it. Allah's doing the talking because you're reading. He's talking to you.
That's right.
All them juices you've been drinking all this month. He was talking to you if you were listening. So that's the difference. When you make salat, you're petitioning Allah. You're doing all the talking. Allah's just listening. But when you read the Quran, Allah's talking to you and you should be listening. Allahu Akbar. So that's why the Prophet said that. A lot of people miss that. Okay? But today we have people that have experience in the fields that they're in, and I'm excited to hear what they're going to talk about. Allahu Akbar. So those of you that are here, we thank Allah. We thank Allah that you're here. In fact, those are here are supposed to be here. I used to always wonder sometimes when the imam used to come out, you should be only a few people there. But you know what he said? He said, don't worry about that. He said, the people that are supposed to be at the event are there. Allahu Akbar. So without any further delay, we're going to give you something for some nutrition, for your intellect, for your mind. Then we're going to feed you physically. Ramadan, I said it today, Ramadan is about your nafsikun, your soul and your intellect. That's what it's about. Okay? That's what Ramadan is for. The 30-day cycle, I gave a similitude, a parable. Ramadan is a 30-day fire. Not a physical fire, a spiritual fire that burns for 30 days. Okay? And it burns away all your inequities, your weaknesses, your impurities, your laziness. All of those things, all of those habits are consumed in the fire of Ramadan. Allahu Akbar. And we have brothers like Dr. Muhammad. We have my good brother Khalid Shaheed, a good brother. And we have the Pearl from the East. We got Wali Abdul Kareem, alhamdulillah. And we have people like Brother Charles and Brother Darnell here to help to make this happen. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
And I got to say this to y'all. What we're doing here, we get blessings for. People don't realize it. Anytime you elevate humanity, you get blessings from Allah. I don't care what it is. It could be the sister. It could be anybody. Anytime you elevate humanity, you get blessings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So without any further delay, I want these brothers to come up. Each one of them can go for 30 minutes. I want y'all to have some questions to ask them. Perhaps they can give us some answers that will help our life. So without any further delay, we would like to bring up our first speaker, Brother Wali Abdul Kareem, and he's going to give us a piece of the dream. Assalamu alaikum. Tabir.
Allahu Akbar.
Tabir.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Wali Abdul Kareem. I want to talk about pieces of the dream. But before I talk about pieces of the dream, I want to say something from the Quran. And I'm going to give you Surah 3:110. It says, "Ye are the best of people, evolved for mankind, enjoying what is right, forbidding what is wrong, and believing in Allah. If only the people of the book had faith. If it were best for them, and among them, and some who have faith, but most of them are pervert transgressors." The main part of this is, ye are the best of people, evolved. As talking about pieces of the dream, or the dream. Most of you here today have a dream. I have a dream. No, I'm not Martin Luther King. I have a dream, type that dream. My dream is for humanity. My dream is for the people. My dream is for the community. My dream is for us to be successful. And how do we become successful? We become successful with practice. We become successful with patience. We become successful with understanding. Everything that I believe, everything that I follow comes from Allah, and I know that. Allah is my guide for one reason. There's no other place to go. You know, I'm trying to keep things simple, and I try to keep things down to earth. But when you want a piece of the dream, that means what we want. We want 40 acres and a mule. Right?
Yes, sir.
You want what? Not just prosperity, but you want your children to have prosperity. You want your family to have those things that you enjoy, or those things that you are fighting for. Part of it, some people say, is education. Education is important. But where am I educating myself on? Am I educating myself on economics? As a community, as Black Americans, African Americans, people who have been down or played down most of their life. We have to look at what's the problem. The problem is, we're not taught how to share our wealth or even gain our wealth. The media, they put us in a different thing, right? Today, we got smartphones, tablets, and we got commercials. Everybody don't pay attention totally because it's just something that goes on and on.
But that message is putting something in back our brains. All right? Even the music. People talk about the music, so-and-so, my children listening, my grandchildren. The music is disrespectful. It's disrespectful to who they call a culture or understanding of who you're supposed to be. All right? One time we had a lot of pride. And I'm not just talking about black pride. I'm talking about pride of who we were, who we are, how we stepped, how we didn't step, the positions that we took as individuals, male and female. You know, let me go back to part of it. I'll give you the reason why. Because I just said respect. I wrote something before. Respect. And then I'll just give it. Respect being with loving and obeying the commandments of Allah. When you start from there, you go everywhere. But you have to start with, again, respect of your creator. Respect of your creation. And then you can start transforming into what? A piece of the dream. What is the dream? The dream is not to be locked on anybody's system. We got families that comes from, put it like this here. Some person, they know what a project is, they grew up in the projects. So what's happening? The mother or the grandmother grew up in the project, the mother's in the project, now the granddaughter's in the project. Why everybody want to stay in the project? Forget what they call the name, because that's another thing. Why we got to be stacked on top of each other in a box? Again, they put you where? In a box. Where's your freedom? Where's your freedom? Dome. Where's the mind? Where are you thinking? Let's move on. They said tenement building. People grew up living in tenements, walk-up buildings. Oh, this is not a beautiful situation. What was it? You didn't want to live in a tenement, so what did you do to change that situation? You didn't want to live on top of someone else. You don't want to live in a building with the staircase is raggedy over here, but you go over next door, the family over there can't eat nothing. Mind you, most of our people graduated from the South or certain parts near South. It don't have to be, it could be in the Midwest, from the South to the Midwest, from the Midwest to a big city. What's happening? They move for jobs, economic advantages to change the conditions they was in, to change the conditions for their children. But we forgot that message. All right? The message went, be a sports star, gravitate to this money we're going to give you. It wasn't about the sports star. The person that's doing the sports, they enjoy the activity. You're going to pay them because they're pretty good at the activity. But their main purpose of doing all that, someone was education. Someone was just to receive the money because they enjoy what they're doing, to make it better on their family. But when you get this money, when you get this here so-called exchange, this is a bartering system. What do you do with it? You squander it. Some of us come from the neighborhoods where we see that our neighbor was what? We used to use the word dope fiend. Our neighbor was what? A drug addict. Our neighbor was what? A coke addict. Our neighbor was what? Someone has had HIV, AIDS. All these things are social conditions. It ran rapid in whose community? My community. Why? Because we lack what we started with. Compassion. We lack what we started with. We wanted change. We all came together at one time. I know one time those ladies next door to me couldn't go hungry without somebody giving them some food. I have 6 brothers. It was 8 of us originally, but I got 6 brothers. My mama fed anybody and everybody. Next door, her door. Period. All right? This is the things that we lost as a community, as some people call family. And here the brother spoke today about family. He spoke about his brother and not letting nobody hurt his brother and coming and knock down the doors if someone came to hurt his brother. It was important. It was an important message to let you know that he still had the connection to his community. He had a connection to his brother. And he wasn't just talking about his brother. He meant his sister. And he opened that door to tell you that we have a like mind. And you have that like mind, and you really understand where he was coming from, we can grow. And because we're that connected and we locked into each other, it's a chain. And that chain can't be broken if you teach a person how to eat, how to fish. So how do I get my piece of dream? I got to go down to economics. What is the economics? You know, he was telling you how to get the brother or the sister that you work for because you got to go somewhere else and bring him because they got more money than you. I don't need them like that. I need them to come and obey the law first. If they come to God, then they open for what we have for them. And my economic plan to you, or what I'm telling you, is that we waste money on simple things. I talk about my brother who was here, he didn't get here, but I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna call him Pizza Man. All right? I love him because he comes from a different perspective, but he loves pizza. All right? Pizza Man don't get it. There's nothing wrong with pizza, but it's a problem with me seeing you spend your money on pizza all the time. Not once in a blue moon, I say all the time. It's the same thing. I had a question with the person that this last night this thing happened. My wife was with me. Two things happened when we went to the store. I was renewing a BJ's card, and the young lady asked me, "You got your ID?" And the first thing I asked her, "Why?" She said, "You have your ID, sir." I said, "Why? You need my ID." "I need it because it's the policy." Excuse me? She couldn't even explain that they have to verify, not because you got an address, that the picture or the person behind this renewal thing is the person. She didn't know how to say that. I'm not going to blame it on her being Spanish. I'm not going to blame it on anything. I'm blaming it on the person that was training her, because when they brought one of the person that trained her, they couldn't even explain it. My wife started explaining, well, they need this to show that this is the person that's renewing so and so. But my question was why? You know why? Because anytime you ask me, as a person that thinks, I want to know why. Can you explain to me a process? Take me through the steps so I can see that what you're talking about. I know how to put 2 and 2 together. So how did I go from 2 to 7? So my question was why? It's a simple question. I almost got heated because I was explaining to the supervisor, well, the person don't know what they're talking about. Because if the person was trained properly, the lady said, "I apologize, but you're raising your voice at me." I said, "No, I'm agitated because you couldn't even explain the policy. My wife is telling you the way the thing's supposed to be. And if she said anything, not you said something. She shouldn't be saying anything." So I asked her, "Please stop." I understood if you could have said that, but you didn't say it. So I asked you a question. You want my ID? Well, how do I know you're not taking a card reader somewhere or copying my information? So I have flipped it on them. My thing to you was, my picture's on the screen because it's a card for your club. All you have to say, I'm just going to match the picture with the picture on the screen because this is the ID that we use. You couldn't explain that to me. So that means you was not educated, or you did not have clear information on what you was doing. So you don't even know the process. So how can I go to the next step with you if you don't know how to get there? It's a process for us to get the dream. What's the dream? I don't want to live in the projects. I don't want to live in my tenement building. I don't want to live what you call my so-called ghetto. I don't want to live in a neighborhood if you don't want to pick up your garbage that you dropped on the street next to you. I don't want to see rats. I know if you got roaches, I bet you don't know how to get rid of the roaches. You need to learn how to disinfect. You need to learn how to paint. You need to know how to chase out those critters, them things that's going to make your environment bad. That's the same thing when I tell you I want to clean up my community. How can I get rid of the influence of a drug dealer, drug pushers, if I can't help them clean up their act? I know what their act is for, so-called better than their life. How can they better their life if they pollute my life, in my neighborhood? Again, so how do I get you that piece of the dream that you call you so-called one? How can I help you dress fly? How can I get you to the state of mind that you can have all that you want if you just take your time and have the sabr, the patience? Everything that we do, we should do it in a state of worship or understanding that it's something bigger than myself. And how do I get there? I take a step, one step. I have a plan. Hopefully everybody has a plan, but I take one step. And I evaluate, am I going farther? I have a plan of A, B, C. If I can get one step, then I'm good. Because I have to see things and look at it and see, can I get to the next step? It's a vision. And everybody has visions. So you don't want to live in the ghetto no more. You want a better house. You want your grandchildren not to have milk from the state because they're getting the, the vouchers. You don't want that no more. So what I got to do? I got to stop being lazy. I got to stop taking my hand out. Not that I don't need it. When I say stop taking it, I mean I got to find a way to stop collecting it all the time. So that means I have to find some work. It'd be called having a job to get money to borrow and get better things. I have to find something that fits the skills that I have or improve the skills I do have. That means I might have to try to go to school and get trained to receive a better wage, if that's what it is. But the most important part of all of this, in getting that dream, is staying to the dream. Like I said, I have a vision. I only took one step. I may get pushed back, but I still got to step forward again. My dream is to what? I want my 40 acres and a mule. I want my white picket fence. My dream is not about me. My dream is about my children. You see? And if you have understanding dream, you live in a life, and you can change some parts of your life. But for you to help someone else or see your real dream, your dream should be about the future. You call that your children or your grandchildren. And how do you change that? You have to give them the things or the skills they didn't have before. They had a thing at one time, if you talk to the baby in the womb, that the baby hears you. And the baby hears you, and the baby understands. And the baby comes out with fire. Meaning that baby comes out already understanding words. The baby understands a lot of stuff. So when you stay and start coming to it, you say, oh, this child is so intelligent, this child is smart. The child was always smart. You just gave the child some more fuel. But the child learned from the environment. The children are aggressive when they're small. You really watch them. It's not a psychology. It's a science. Watch them reaching and grabbing. Watch them interacting. People used to, I tried this with my child because I heard it. I wasn't sure when they was big. Gave them puzzles. How many people see puzzles with the kids? None, really. But people don't do that. You know why they do puzzles? Because the puzzles teach you how to use not just their hands, but how to think. They're learning how to move things around on their own. You don't do that for them. They're doing it for themselves. And they find out that being able to put this in this here block or move this stuff around, it's telling the brain, wow, this is something else. Yeah, it's another skill that they do for development. The same thing when you sit and you read to your children at night. That same child will start reading later on. And the child really enjoys it. They will take books and just kill the books. I had a problem with books because I used to buy my son a book. Say this was a 400-page book. He used to read it in 2 days because he liked the book, he liked the story. So I had to keep going back to Barnes and Nobles and the other bookstore, and I had to buy books 2 or 3 times a week because he kept finishing the book that he started. But one was a series, and this was another series. And I found out that the more that you give them, the more that they want. My child, he told me this at age of 14. He just started high school. He said, Daddy, I had this stuff before. They keep repeating this stuff. I don't need them to repeat this no more. I don't even know why I'm here. I understand what they're talking about, but do they understand that they can't keep telling me the same thing over and over because they don't know what they're talking about no more? I said, wow. He took in all their lessons and was able to shoot it back at them, but he told them that they don't know what they're talking about. This guy got a PhD off my child when he was 3 years old. 3rd grade, 10 years old, in math. My son was showing him how to do a math equation. It was calculus or geometry. And he broke it down. The guy kept asking questions. He said, you don't understand? Let me say this again. And I got it on a videotape, and the guy sent me a little videotape. And I'll share it with you anytime you want to see it. To see a child 10 years old, not just break down the geometry to this guy, but explain every step and then tell a guy, you don't understand? I'm like, whoa, what's this? But it came to me. He was already learning how to do these equations in his head. He was learning already how to move these things. So he was already equipped for certain things. if he applies himself to those things. See, we are just a guide. And so being a guide is the same way I'm trying to tell you how to help you get to economic empowerment. I got to give you a guide. And the bottom of the guide is this. How many of you eat out 3 times a week? How many of you want to go to the grocery store, yet you don't want to buy what you have to do to cook this meal all the time? Well, I'll just get this. Let me ask you, how many of you take Ubers when you really don't have to? It's just that it's convenient. All right? I use the word cab, whatever you want. How many times we do things that is more convenient? Meaning that I lived in an apartment though. I got tired of looking at how much money I pay in my rent in an apartment building and have nothing to show for it. So that made me get wise and said that I need to own something. So how did I get to owning something? I had to save. That means the family vacation that I'd love to take everybody to do things that they wouldn't do regularly, that stopped. And that stopped for 4 or 5 years. Straightforward. Oh, you need money for this. You need money to be involved in things outside the house. I can work with that. Like dance school, baseball, hockey, something to keep you busy so that you don't get part of the street or the street culture. But other than that, we worked on what? Getting to the next step. And when you get to the next step, you have to be prepared for it. So I had to do some more homework. Oh, I could get moved. I could pay 3 months mortgage now. Oh, I can help. But it wasn't about that. It was about once you move. Anybody had to move recently or the last few years? You know that you got a movement expense, right? So you're going to pay the movers, right? You're going to pay for new furniture. You're still paying for your light, your gas, and all this other bill. But the main thing you forgot is that nobody wants the same thing all over. So now I got to buy new blinds, new shades, new carpet, you want a new table. Where's this money coming from if I was only prepared for this little bit of stuff? Oh, guess what? I can make a renovation. It's a lot of space. I want a whole new floor down here. You know, so everything costs more than you expect. And then you still got to have money for something that you don't expect. Where that's coming from? You got to put that in your plan. So like I said, you have the steps, but you have to keep planning with these steps. You know, you don't want to give away every little step that you make. And it's not that you're doing something special. You have to sacrifice. How do you sacrifice? You got to stay focused. You got to say, oh yeah, here you go. Here come my plan. Let me give you my plan. The main part of the plan is respecting what the Lord gave you. He gave you the insight to see. He gave you the insight to see that there's a need and you can fulfill those needs. So when you fulfill those needs, you start seeing how you can change, how you can make your thing better. You know? Like I said, I lived in the belly of the neighborhood. I loved it because the people didn't know where you come from. They just see you coming and going. And I said, oh no. Don't bother them. Don't act like, you know, that's these people here. They've been here all this time. What? You can fool me. Why? Because your focus was on one thing. Change. And even though you're focused on change, your focus is on what? Giving someone else a better chance than you had before you. And it's easy. I really don't want to give you too much today because the dream is what we put into it. You know, it's called consciousness. That's my dream. How did I get there? Consciousness. I'm taking the proper steps for freedom or the freedom. You know, everybody said, "Oh, this." Believe me, you cannot free the dome if you're still locked up in chains. Brother Imam gave us the beautiful thing. Ramadan helps us fight a lot of stuff for the whole month. It helps clearance. I got a whole bunch of issues coming up, and I can share that with you. My daughter just got sick. She's supposed to have been home. And I'm like, good. Alhamdulillah. My daughter been away from me for the last 4 months in school. Praise be Allah. She's on the honor roll and everything in school. But she can't get out because she got sick with COVID. So they said, you want her to go home? You got to come get her. You know, next step, daddy going to get his baby. That's it. Okay? Regardless what I got to do, run and go, I'm going to get my baby. All right? But at the same time, I'm proud of my baby. She did great. I wish my baby could get some of the things other people get. They get all these, what they call it, grants and free rides. I got to pay. Well, mama will pay. Because if mama pay, then daddy ain't got no money because he got to take care of mama. So it's the same thing to me. If it goes from Peter to Paul, and I'm Paul. Yes, I got your back. You know why I got your back? I got the skills. Because I want to know. This is the reason why I said a piece of the dream. I can't get some place to live in if I don't know a little bit about plumbing. I need to be able to fix my pipes if the water bursts. Because I can't give you $45 to $65 an hour. I'm sorry, I can't give you that. You may work 3 hours, but you don't charge me 3 times the price of the little piece that you use. You use some putty, you brought a piece of PVC tube, you cut it, you seal it back up, and you told me I gotta give you $175. Are you out your damn mind? I'm serious. The man told me a joke. My wife was buying a big old bag of salad last night. We was walking the store. And I didn't know he was joking at first because I said, well, he got the scanner. I asked him, what's the price? It's not over there. He says, no. We said, what's the price? He said, $17. The first thing I said, the first thing she said, okay. Okay, they would stay right there. That's what okay meant. He said, oh, see, you could tell the people was together. No, my mind, the togetherness was that we're not that dumb. I'm not giving you nothing over $6, maybe less. But I was saying, $17? Okay. You know what you do with that, right? You, the store, and anybody else tell me something that my mind can't conceive. That's all I'm trying to explain to you. I brought some salad for us tonight. And I think I did an excellent job. But that's just me talking junk in front of y'all. Let me say this here. It didn't cost me the price I would pay if I catered it. I'm going to tell you that there now. All right? I buy this pan of salad, and I'm being honest with you. Or whatever it is, they charge you what? Market price and the price for fixing it. It ain't happening. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I got skills. I'm going to put my skills to work. You're not going to get me for more than it's worth. All right? If a head of lettuce is $1.60 and I need 3 heads, I'm getting 3 heads. If the cucumbers, I'm going to tell you, I paid 60 cents for a cucumber yesterday. Oh, that was a good deal. You're doggone right. I bought a bag of tomatoes that I needed. Again, $1.38. That pan of salad, they want you to pay what, $32 down? Something like that. If you order a pan of salad, ask the man downstairs how much a pan of salad costs from the pizza parlor. Because I gave you a cater pan. I gave you a long pan. That's what I'm telling you. You paying for what? Because somebody put it together. It ain't happening. That's what I'm trying to tell you. All right? If I spend $12 on the salad, praise be to Allah. I saved $25. Where that $25 go? Back in my pocket. That's how you get a piece of the dream. You save. Okay? And that's all I'm showing you. That's just one example of something I have to do. One example of what you have to do. Save that extra dollar. What my wife always reminds me, pay yourself first.
That's right.
How do I pay myself first? I took 4 years, no vacation. Not that the vacation was big, no vacation. Family of 4, family of 8, 7, whatever the family was, is a sacrifice. Why? Because I got to pay myself. They was very upset and very happy at the same time. Yeah, you moved into a brand new house, remodeled home. You never had a home. Hey, how many of you got 2 or 3 people in one room? It's okay now. How do you think they feel later on? They get resentful later on. Change those habits and you will be blessed. Trust me. What's the habit? I didn't get in the Uber. I could walk or I took a bus. I saved how much? What's the difference? The difference is take it, throw it in that jar. If you smoke and you stop smoking, throw it in that jar. Count every day you do something you didn't do before. Put it in a jar. Count that jar at the end of the month. If you know you can't hold the money, put it in the bank. I don't agree with banks for everything, but if you know you can't hold it, you better put it somewhere somebody can hold it for you. It's yours. You deserve it because you paid yourself. That's how you pay yourself first. You start doing things or you take away from things that you wasted on. Huh? How many of us waste on something and we don't look at it that way? It's not a waste. If you drink coffee 3 times a week, you might have wasted. You could have made that pot. You took that coffee with you. Reheat it up, whatever it is. I got to look at it, a dime is a dime. I'll be honest. I take money for lunch with me, and it lasts me, not the 1 week, it lasts me 2 weeks. Because I don't spend no money on lunch. I don't eat because they ate. I brought something in with me, that's nice. I don't spend my money just to be spending. I have to spend it because I need it. So whatever I put in my pocket from 2 weeks ago, most of the time it'll be there to 2 weeks for the next 2 weeks. Unless something comes up. I'm not giving just going, oh here, I gotta spend it. I like to, but it ain't happening. Only reason why I spend it, like I said, Peter gotta pay Paul. Guess who Paul is? Paul gotta come to the rescue. And I'm being honest. We share these bills, but guess who always winds up putting out more? Me. Okay, so what? My wife got me, yeah. Some brothers say, I ain't nothing. I know what I gotta do. I'm gonna keep a happy house. All right? For your sisters out there, y'all know the deal. Y'all make husbands pay. It might not be the same way I pay, but they gotta pay. They got to reimburse certain things, period. And I'm only saying that because it's a good thing. It's a good thing to know that I was able to have your back. It's a good thing to know that you don't have to go look for this because I already took care of it. All right? But at the same time, I don't spend my money. I'm trying to tell you for a reason. If it ain't for the good, it's not going to be good. It's not going to go nowhere. It's going to stay right where it's at. And that's part of how you get your dream. You have to stay focused. All right? And staying focused is meaning what? Consciousness. I'm using the freedom and I'm thinking, so I'm using my mind. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Assalamu alaikum. I thank the Imam. I thank you as an audience. And trust me, there's more for the dream. I had some stuff, but I was rushing, so I left it. I'm in Rahman.
Yes, sir. Amen. Okay. I definitely left.
Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar. You know, he said something that's very key. Ramadan is about habits. Actually, all of us, the total sum of what you are your habits. You just took your habits 60, 70, 80 years. We don't think about that, but that's what it is. Whatever you do over and over and over again puts an imprint on your subconscious mind as well as your mind. So Ramadan, all of this is right in tune with Ramadan. Because Ramadan is about altering or changing habits for better habits. Allahu Akbar, that's what Ramadan is. If you get in the habit of reading 1/30th of the Quran every day for 30 days, inshallah, it goes into your subconscious mind. And then it reacts, it goes back to your conscious mind. Everything is in your subconscious mind, but everything is not in your conscious mind. So we want to take that back here, put it up here, and make us conscious of our actions. Allahu Akbar. So we want to thank Brother Wali, alhamdulillah, takbir, Allahu Akbar. Now, next we have our brother Imam Muhammad Hatim. He's a PhD, DIM, CADD, and CPPCC. Allahu Akbar. So, assalamu alaikum, y'all going on home. Okay, Muhammad Hatim, retired as an Imam and elder with the Admiral Family Circle Islamic Community in New York after 18 years. He's a longtime student of the late Sheikh Dr. Abdullah Latif Ali. He directed the Admirals Family Justice Ministry Prison Court as the Admirals Family Non-Governmental United Nations representative. He participated in United Nations religious and human rights activities here in the U.S. as well as in Geneva, Switzerland. He has many years' experience as volunteer spiritual counselor with the New York City Department of Corrections and functioning as a disaster chaplain for the Red Cross after the World Trade Center tragedy in New York City. The Imam completed a one-year residency chaplain program at St. John's Hospital Services, Far Rockaway, Queens, New York. Prior to that experience, he completed the unit of clinical pastoral education at Calvary Hospital in the Bronx, New York. Supervision certified him as a board-certified clinical chaplain, Allahu Akbar, and pastoral counselor. Addiction Professional Certified Board in New Jersey certified him as a certified alcohol and drug counselor. He has over 15 years experience. He is certified instructor of adult mental health first aid by National Council of Behavior Health. Our brother Hatim has over 30 years experience as an engineer, planner, and project manager. He is also trained in facilitation, resolution of sexual harassment issues and racial discrimination cases for the federal government. He holds a PhD in civil engineering and a doctor of ministry, theological foundation, where is the Imam Dwarfdi Muhammad Professor of African American Muslim Studies. Dr. Hatim is an adjunct lecturer at Farley Dickinson University in Teaneck, New Jersey, as well as a noted lecturer of a variety of Islamic issues, contemporary youth challenges, and substance abuse disorder in the New York City metropolitan area. He is the author of Quranic Comfort and Healing in Contemporary Times, Unfolding the Joy of Al-Islam 2017, The Caregiving of a Muslim and Guide for Chaplain Counselors Healthcare. So now I want you to you heard what he's accomplished, and now I want you to hear from the heart of our brother Imam Hatim. Takbir! 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 Yes, sir.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Oh, I was even impressed. Well, one of the things that, and I should use this way. I'm a little challenged. One of the reasons that I like to hear the reading of some of my background, because it tells me the blessings that Allah has given. Everyone's not able to go do a PhD or travel to Switzerland with the United Nations and work with students. Everyone's not able to sit with people who are suffering or working through mental health issues or substance use disorder. And it's a great blessing and a privilege even to be here, that Allah has granted me those blessings. He didn't give me a lot of other stuff, but He certainly gave me these. And it's my responsibility to share what Allah has given me with you. So what I like to do is to talk about Muslim wellness. Muslim wellness. Wellness according to the Al-Quran and the Hadith. Wellness according to the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Comprehensive Muslim wellness. And I'd like to go over maybe some strategies for implementing the wellness, maybe some things you can take with you. I really like interaction. So if I say something that says, no, he didn't, or that's not right, or I need further explanation on that, please, just feel free to raise your hand, to let me know, so that we can make sure that you are comfortable with the information. Make sure that there's something that you can take with you when you leave here, that you can use, because that's what this is about. It's not about the PhDs and all that stuff, all those credentials and letters behind the name. It's about, okay, show up. You got that. So how am I going to benefit you then? How am I going to benefit from it? What you bringing to me that I can use to take home tonight to my children, to my wife, to my family, to my community? I'd like to start out with a spiritual metaphor. And this is what I use, my personal thing I just want to share with you. I visualize the Mustaqim as a battleground. And on the battleground is thrown all these bodies. Bodies for whatever reasons that they're there. Spiritually wounded, physically wounded, mentally wounded. Some people dead, and some people are walking dead. Now, what is the walking dead? The walking dead are those people who don't know where they're going. Those people who are so spiritually strained, spiritually compromised, they have no idea what's happening. Those people who used to be alive, had life, and maybe had life abundantly. Something happened. Something happened. And we missed it. I say we missed it because that person is suffering. And how can we not want for our brother or our sister what we want for ourselves? So when we see suffering, it should click something in our mind. What's happening there? How did that person get to that situation? What challenges did Allah give them that He didn't give me? And how can I bring to them some sort of relief? So you see this Mustaqim, and people just thrown all over, mentally wounded, walking around, some zombies, don't know where they're going. Maybe some over there because they overdosed on drugs. Maybe somebody over here because they're all abused. You don't know what, but they're there. Now all of a sudden I hear the adhan. I hear the call to prayer. I've got to get from here to the masjid. And how do I get there? By walking over those bodies of those people who've been mentally challenged, physically challenged. But I heard the adhan. Oh, I gotta make a move. Gotta get ready. And now I saw walk. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Oh, well, can you move? I got to get to the mosque because I got to make the door prayer. So, well, that's my metaphor. And on the day of judgment, and there are a number of hadiths like this one, where there's one in the 40 hadiths that talks about the person who was a martyr. You may remember that one, and he died, and when he went before Allah, and Allah said, "Oh, so you were a martyr?" He said, "Yeah, I was a martyr. I died for you, Allah." He said, "You sure about that?" I'm paraphrasing. He said, "You sure about that? You sure you didn't become a martyr so that people could say that you sacrificed your life just for the sake of them saying that you sacrificed your life?" And Allah said, "You lied. Get in the fire." Then was a scholar. Somebody had all kinds of PhDs and demons and a whole bunch of letters and stuff behind his name. So he died. So went before Allah and said, "Oh Allah, thank you for giving me all those degrees. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I did it. Allah, I taught when you wanted me to teach. I taught for the sake of Allah." And many people were brought to the religion behind that. And I did it because you told me to, Allah, and I did it because I was supposed to as a Muslim. He said, "You lied. You did it so that people would say how great you were. You did it because you wanted people to say your name with all these letters and things behind it." So then he'll say, "Get in the fire," and he'll be dragged off there. There's one more story in that about a rich man. The same thing happens. So the issue is, what is it that I can do for my brother and my sister? And that gets us to the issues of Islamic compassionate care and counseling. Islamic compassionate care and assessment. We want to be able to make assessments when people are in distress. We want to be able to say, "Oh, wait a minute, are you all right? Or you want to see somebody who's a little upset and say, well, how you feeling? How you feeling? Sometimes with men, that's difficult. Give you an example. Had a case once where I was dealing with a family. The wife says, I don't know about my husband. So, okay, tell me what happened. Well, I stayed home. I was staying home. I was cooking, took care of the kids. The kids came home, made the meal, did the laundry. And I was excited about seeing my husband. Really excited about him. He was coming home and said, I'm going to fix my hair, what I'm going to do, make sure the food is hot when it's on the table. So husband opens the door, comes in. Hey, baby, how you doing? How you feel? What do you mean, I said, don't bother me. I'm tired. I said, okay. It's on. Husband and wife, it's on. And part of it is on because of what? Because the husband was not able or willing or didn't know how to express his feelings. Change the scenario. Husband comes home. The wife says, how you doing, baby? Look, sugar, I had a rough day. I'm feeling right now that I need some time to myself. I love you. Right now, I just need some time to myself. Is that okay with you, baby? And she'll say, sure, or something else. However, what's different is that the man now knows and has some skills on how to talk to his wife, how to express his feelings. In my practice, what I have is something called a feeling wheel. You can check it out on the internet. It's a huge wheel. In the center of it, there's some spokes, one spoke, and it's broken into angry, pleasant, powerful, and sad. So now, usually, when I'm doing some counseling or assessment, I'm listening to what people are saying. Somebody says, well, I just feel, I feel a little like, I feel anxious. Or I feel, I feel useless. So the key word, because if you look at this feeling wheel, it has layers on it. Say for instance, sad, then it might be inadequate, some other words, because we speak out in the outer circles that you'll see in the feeling wheel. But as a counselor, it's my responsibility to unpack what I'm hearing to get at the root of what the issues might be. If somebody tells me I feel inadequate, the root of that is sadness. So then I hear, I'm so inadequate, I feel useless. Okay. Now I can begin to sort of inquire, well, tell me more about that. What's happening? How'd that come about? Tell me about your day. Tell me what happened. When did you first start feeling like that? Open-ended questions to get at what's at the heart of those issues. Another thing I wanted to talk about a little bit is over the last 15, 20 years or so, a number of us, including my brother here, Antonio McLeod, have worked with imams and communities, African communities, Arab communities, African American, Muslim communities, and giving them some tools, not just the imams, but also what I call the Muslim caregivers, giving them tools on how to address some of the issues, how to do assessment. In the Christian tradition of chaplaincy, they have an area called pastoral care. And they do clinical pastoral education units. And as a chaplain, having gone through that process, I understand that. There's nothing really comparable among the Muslims. So that we've developed something called Islamic compassionate care in counseling, or Islamic compassionate care and assessment. So that we make these assessments according to the Quran, the Hadith, and the traditions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. My brother Kareem will talk a little bit more about that area, especially as it deals with substance use disorder. One of the I won't call call it reasons. One of the sad things that happened a number of years ago, this was back in 2014. There was a young woman, and I'm bringing it up now because we're coming to the end of the school year, get ready to give my final examinations to the students. So there was a young woman, she happened to be a Yoruba, Nigerian, Muslim. She was sitting in the classroom taking the final exam. She'd already been accepted to like 4 Ivy League schools. Princeton, Dartmouth, I think, another one, and Columbia. So she was very excited. The family was very excited. They'd already planned a party for her. They already wanted to give her a vacation before she started that school in September. She only had one more thing to do, and that was to take an exam. And she was in a school somewhere around 68th and West End Avenue in the school. So she sat in this one class, it was something like English. It was breeze. She should be able to do this. And they passed out the blue books, and then they said, okay, put your cell phones, turn them off, and put them away. So she put her cell phone away, and during the exam it rang. So she went to get the cell phone to turn it off. The proctor for the exam said, took her blue book and tore it up. Took the blue book and tore it up. I can see the young girl now seeing her whole life just being destroyed. She's 17 years old. Her future was going to college. So he just tore it up. Oh, what? No, you know the rules. You weren't supposed to touch that phone. You were supposed to turn it off, tear it up, and you can leave. So imagine what she's going through now with the shock of having the blue book tore up, and walking out, and I don't understand what happened. So she started walking, and she walked from 68th Street all the way up to like 175th. And I can just hear her thinking, well, what about my family? And many of us know we come from West Indian or African families or some overseas. Education is so important. Education is so important. And failure is not acceptable. It's not treated well. And you don't come home with B's. They want you to come home with A's. Why? Like she did. Because she was getting a full ride to one of these Ivy League schools. So if I can get in her head for a minute and sort of deal with her feelings, and she's walking up the street, and like, no party, can't go to school in September. The family's waiting for me to come home to celebrate. My mother's been cooking all day long. What are my friends going to say? They're all going off to school. I just feel so embarrassed. And she walked and she walked and she walked straight into the Hudson River and drowned. People saw her walking in that direction, but they thought, like many people, she was just going to go walk along and enjoy the Hudson and some of the boats that might have been out there. But she walked into the Hudson River, Muslim, and drowned. So I give that example because where was the community? First, where were the parents? Were they so strict on her that she felt that she had to kill herself from embarrassment? Where was auntie, uncle, good friend, someone where she could pick up the phone and say, look, this just happened to me. I need to process this. I need to process this. I don't understand it. Or someone could have said, it's all right, baby. Right now, you're in shock, and we'll deal with it. Just come on home. Come on home. I'll come get you. Stay where you are. But there was none of that. Could she pick up the phone and call the imam? Call the imam's wife? Call anybody? But she didn't. So this is one of the reasons I'm really inspired about dealing with imams and the communities to do some, I don't even want to call it training, but do some skill development where people can identify signs and symptoms, things that will trigger in them an urge to find out what's happening with someone else. There was another example. There was a sister, Sheila Abdul Salam. She was the first female Muslim judge. Also walked into the Hudson River. May you have remember that. So it tells me that something is going on in the community where we're not addressing the issues of our young people. So we want to talk about some Islamic compassionate care and assessment, and being able to have some tools. We want to look at things you should say to somebody when they're in distress. Things you should not say to someone when they're in distress. Oh, you shouldn't feel like that. Hello?
Word. Say it again.
I'm telling you how I feel. You tell me I shouldn't feel. Duh, it's too late. It's too late. It's too late. Oh, get over it. Over? I'm here. I'm stuck. What am I going to get over? Over to what? It'll be all right. No. You don't know that. Allahu Alam. You don't know it's going to be all right. Allah may have given you that test for a reason, that He didn't decide to share it with you. So that there's some skills that we want to be able to develop. Another thing that happens in a Muslim school in Brooklyn, I won't say too much more about that. It's an Arab school. And they had 19 students who overdosed. 19. This is a high school. They had 19 who overdosed. And they had Muslims selling the drugs to other Muslims in the school. Man calls me, oh, man, you gotta come, we need you.
Oh yeah, he needs you, brother, he needs you.
Yeah, now you need me. When we talked about this 6-7 months ago, we wanted to put some things in place because we were aware that you were having an issue. Now you got 19 people overdosing you. Oh, okay, I'm coming anyway. I'm coming whenever. Everything's in the last time. So it was time to go. And in my own, I worked with an agency headquartered in Hackensack, but I worked for in the Newark office. Out of my 25 patients that I had, a third of them were Muslim. In active addiction or either in recovery. So, brother, when's the last time you went to the mosque? Oh, I can't go to the mosque. I can't go to the mosque. So why not? The brothers over there, them sisters over there, they remember me from when I was robbing in the door and all that. They see me now. Oh, here you come. You can't come in here, brother. You can't come in here. No, we don't. It's not that, but I had to make this a lot. No, you better go somewhere else or make it by yourself. Now, sometimes they'll let the person in, they'll watch him like a hawk. I'm not saying that they shouldn't. Security first. I'm just saying that there should be a safe place, a safe space where people who have whatever issue they're dealing with should be able to talk. Safe space for women. Women have women's issues that they want to talk about. And then they can bring those issues to the imam or to some other authority, however they want to do that. Young people have issues, challenges every day, and no safe place to go. The brother works with young people every day in the Bronx, all over the city, and the juvenile justice. Is that what it's still called now? Yeah, juvenile justice. So he knows what I'm talking about. However, if you have children, grandchildren, Muslim, and they're not coming to the masjid, perhaps you need to go ask why. And say, what is it? I don't feel safe. Or I don't want to be judged. I might be gay. I might be slow. I might have autism. Whatever it is. And the people look at me funny. I want to be there. I want to be a part of the community. But I can't stand the being ostracized that way. Or the way, the meanness in their look. Or the whispers. That brother so-and-so. So, but my point is that, one of the points is that we want to create in our communities a safe space. For instance, with the young people, you could have in Christian church they call it a ministry, a youth minister, or we could say a youth leader, in the Muslim community. With that person, fairly young, could be older, depending on circumstances, older. With that person, the young people know they can talk to Brother Hassan. They can talk to Brother Yusuf. They can talk to Sister Aisha about what's going on. Sister Aisha, I'm having an issue with school, or this boy is pushing up on me. I don't know what to do, what to say. You know, I like him. So then the sister can give her the benefit of the wisdom of her age. But safe space. They pick up the phone, or we had a situation with a group in North Bergen community with Imam Muhammad Musa. Every Friday after Jumu'ah, the young people would come and sit, or even at the Isha, they would come and sit with Dr. Ibrahim Abdul Malik at the time. Would sit with him, and the students began to trust him over a period of time, and to know that I can tell him. Now, if they say they're going to kill themselves, they're going to hurt somebody, you're a mandated reporter. You have to say that, because life is sacred, and you don't want anybody to be abusing older people. But other than that, some judgment has to be brought in, and each community can decide what that is, or when they refer, and when they bring in the parents. Sometimes you just need a go-between between the parents and the youth. Somebody can say, well, I'd like to talk to you about your son. I'd like to talk to you about your daughter. What about my son? What about my daughter? See, now that's another thing too. If the community knows that the youth person is representing the youth in the best possible manner, you know, argue or discuss in the best possible manner, and can bring the peoples together, bring the families together, and tighten them up, then that's what we want. That's what we want. We did establish about 2 years ago with Imam Siraj and his community in Taqwa in Brooklyn, who now holds mental health conferences. We just had one there last week. I wasn't there, but there was a brother who is a chaplain who facilitated that. So that these are important to include and incorporate clinical issues, especially with marriage. In marriage, I'm going to call it counseling. Counseling in New Jersey and New York has a particular kind of thing, and using the word training means that you have to be licensed and have a master's degree, licensed and certified to do certain kind of work. Fortunately, as a religious organization, we don't necessarily have to have that. We still want the training for the people, for the imams, and for the Muslim caregivers. We still want the training, but we're doing it based on the Quran and the Hatim. So we've gone to different places in New York, different massages in New Jersey, and offered this to some of the imams' councils, had trained some of the imams, or giving them some tools, we call training, giving them some tools to sharpen their skills. I'd rather say it like that. Talked about the safe space. There is such a thing as the mental health first aid. Mental health first aid. It's a certification that is for adults, and also a certificate being offered to youth. And we can bring that to the various massages in New Jersey. They've done it in New York. I think a couple here also have, where they bring, it's like, I think it's 40 hours, 24 hours depending, or 8-hour training, where a person is trained on how to assess whether someone is in distress. And not to make judgments about that, ain't nothing but a joke. She just overdosing. Just got the nod, whatever it is. They're just dismissing that. And it may be that that's the case, but it's the judgment without assessing whether that person is in distress. Maybe they didn't take their diabetes medication that morning. Maybe the blood pressure is spiking. Or maybe there's some kind of confusion that's happening, something that Hatim disagreed with them. So you want to be able to have the tools to say, can I help you? They say, no, get back, away from me. But they say, well, I'm feeling a little so. And then to know, to get the cues from what they're saying and what they're not saying, whether you need to call 911. So it's training on training. It's exposure, skill development. Stay away from training. It's skill development on making assessments on what's happening with people emotionally. What I'd like to see is the establishment of a Islamic Compassionate Care Council, where we're looking at what does it mean to provide care from an Islamic perspective to our communities, individual masjids, but also to imams' councils, where there's some layers or some consistency in people being trained or skilled or exposed to dealing with people who are in distress. Whatever that takes place. What I'd like to see is the fruit of Islam. I'd like to see where we're training men to be men, training them to be fathers, training them to be responsible leaders, like they did under the time of the Honorable Wali. I'd like to see the Muslims, girls training whatever the language was, change it if it doesn't fit for the 22nd, whatever century. Change it with something where women can come together and talk about the issues, but also get the kind of training to be mothers, wives, if they're working in industry, to be good industry workers, whatever the woman wants. That she has the opportunity to develop her fullest potential. And again, the youth. And youth is being encouraged. I had a meeting 2 weeks ago at King University. The president, African American, been there a little while now. He's talking about programs at King. He even mentioned 2 programs that he has there that students can get a full ride. One more time. A full ride if they meet the criteria for it. And I never heard. I heard nobody in the Muslim community even know about that. So I did send a letter to the going off the chain to have a meeting, to have a discussion about how the Muslims can be involved in having a Muslim King University relationship. And one of the things I mentioned in the letter, this is the Newark metropolitan area. Muslims have been here forever almost, and we seem to forget that the Canaanite temple started by the Honorable Noble Wali was started in Newark. So we have that. I'm claiming all the history. I don't throw nobody out. I'm claiming all the history. That history, the history of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the history of Imam Mu'adhin, anybody else that was a pioneer. I'm claiming the Muslims who were enslaved and brought here, and we know that they were here. The white folk can tell us that we're here, that they were here, and they left writings, they left photographs, they left not photographs, paintings. The painters painted the pictures that they were here. They have documents of people writing Bismillah on the back of a pew in South Carolina. So that there's all this evidence of the Muslims who were here. We want to claim all of that. And where else would be a better place than a place like King University? It's right here. The Muslims have been here.